It's been kind of different seeing as I went to Sligo, which isn't like a magnet middle school, and all the few minority kids that are in the magnet program in our grade did go to Tacoma, so it seemed like they all knew each other. So it was kind of difficult to like make friends or like find my place in the magnet.
Well, I feel like I've come into the magnet program with a different background than a lot of the other students, which sometimes I guess it makes it a little bit harder sometimes. I mean, usually throughout middle school and elementary school, I was always surrounded by more people of a similar background, people that I could speak Spanish with normally, and here in the magnet program it's been pretty welcoming and everything, but it's not the same as, I guess, having people of that same background, you know, being able to practice my Spanish on an everyday basis.
Sometimes it can be a little isolating, you know. A lot of the time people like group up, people that look like them, you know, the Indians, the Asians, but you know, like, it's straight. I've still made a lot of friends. Most of the time it's not that much of a burden. Sometimes I feel like you gotta represent in the classroom.
I think one of the biggest things that I've seen is not so much specific instances, but the fact that the more diverse a group of people are in a classroom when you're openly having discussions and learning about new topics, the more different inputs and ideas come together because people are coming from different backgrounds, have different base knowledges, and have different experiences. So the more homogenous that group is, the less likely you're going to have some of these different moments and insights that can open up people's minds and broaden people's horizons and thought processes. So to me, the lack of diversity, I think, really impacts that aspect of the classroom.
The magnet program at this school is probably one of the least diverse programs. It's a very diverse school, but the magnet program is like very white and Asian, which is pretty stereotypical, sadly. It seems like the program just isn't available. Well, it's available to those students, but they're not encouraged to join it, and it seems like it's only open to white and Asian students because that's who's in it, and there aren't many role models of other minority students in the program.
Do you think the lack of minorities in magnet is a problem?
Yeah. I think it's important when students are placed in an educational setting that they're exposed to a wide range of points of view.
Have you taken any methods or plans to take any methods to change this?
Yes. So part of what we struggle with is that we feel a lot of why we aren't diverse has to do with opportunities that are being presented to students. And when we look at opportunities that are provided in certain schools, in certain regions, to families with certain incomes, we see a difference. And so part of what we try to do is when we're working with other people across the county is we want to make sure that their schools are not just focusing on meeting standard, but are focusing on getting those students who are already meeting standard opportunities to go well beyond it. Because where we're starting, we already expect students to be a year or two beyond where they should be. And if they haven't had the opportunities to do that, they have the capacity to do it, they just may not have had the opportunity. And so it's hard sometimes to surface students when there haven't been the opportunities. So one of the things we do is talk about it. We also do try to go out and recruit it at middle schools and talk with the staff there and kind of say what are these things that the students need to have. But we're also working, Mr. Paul has been working on this project where we're trying to partner with a math organization to provide either free or drastically discounted math training that isn't simply remedial math. Because we do think we're missing students that have the capacity to do well in the program, but simply because of how our screening processes are, they're just not surfacing. And it's not that I find great fault in our screening process, because I think it does yield, students, yourselves included, that are perfectly fine in our program and do very well. But the idea is, how do we work with students so that more students are presenting themselves better in that screening process?
So what have minorities told you about their experiences in that?
So I get kind of mixed
Yeah.
feedback, but I do think that one of the common things is there is some isolation. We don't have a large student body of African American Hispanic students, and so I think sometimes there is some isolation of that. Just from a sense of community, I think we need to that sometimes can negatively impact students.